Great. I'm just going to send this link on to people who aren't Quaranteam folks. I'll just do that for a sec. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yes.
Here, I'm gonna stop my video because we're actually currently live.
Okay. We don't need this all to be recorded.
Nah.
Okay.
How was your weekend so far?
Good. Good. How about yours?
Yeah, pretty uneventful so far.
Okay. For
Yeah,
once.
yeah, for once.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. It's great. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be fun.
yeah, absolutely. Me too.
I've just got a list of things that I'll go through. Once you've let me know that everybody's in the room and ready,
Sure
I'll go
thing.
through my list. And then the very last thing that I'll do is a kind of introduction to get us into the top of the show and basically hand it over, just you're the next one to speak, basically.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking, I just wanted to get your opinion in terms of sound effect between the scenes, because I'm not going to read any stage directions. It's just going to be marked by sound. Does this read as anything to you?
Whoa. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's pretty like subtle. What is it again? What are you doing?
It's a Chinese block. It's a Chinese block. So
Cool. Yeah, I dig it. What kind of like are you just gonna hit it once or
I'll do a little run each time.
yeah,
It'll be pretty obvious. I'll try to do a little run. I don't have a ruler. I don't have a drumstick, which is what it should be.
right.
The only other option is, but I don't really like that as much.
Yeah, the wood block is maybe better.
Yeah, just in terms of keeping it in the spirit of the world. I don't have a lot here. I have a cajon. I tried it. The sound isn't good for this. So, all right. So I'll do the wood block and I'll tell everyone that that's what's happening.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So otherwise we're good. And also I will run through those pronunciations that I said to everyone. Let's run through them once. But as always, it doesn't have to be. Everyone doesn't have to be brilliant. Like they can just make it up if they want. But sometimes people get like nervous about not knowing how to pronounce stuff.
No, it's nice. It's nice to have the pronunciations relatively consistent if possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Okay, so
I find though that especially like the last few weeks, some of the names have been tricky, especially reading stage directions and stuff. So like I've caught myself, even in Arcadia, I was like,
yeah.
What was the weird one? There was one that
you changed a couple of times, right? Is that
yeah.
that's fine. I mean
there was one that I was doing, and as I looked at the name, I can't remember what the name was. You'll probably remember. I remember just like looking at it and going, why have I been pronouncing it this way? Like 20 minutes in and going like, I need to change this, and then changing it to what it should have been. And
yeah, I remember. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but I remember it happening.
Yeah.
So great.
I was like looking at this name going like, this is so obviously like
it wasn't Chloe, was it Chloe?
no, but
because you pronounced that the French way.
yeah, I did because it had it'll had like an
Oh.
accent or something over top of it in my version. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh well, that's interesting. And I was like, I know how to pronounce that
I know
way.
Chloe. Yeah,
I
right.
know that one. Yeah, exactly. And I do.
Like there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's all good. It's all so good. I love it. This play is just so frighteningly relevant.
Right.
In so many ways.
Yeah, let's purge this plague. Who do we have to blame for this freaking?
That's right, exactly. But it's not just the plague in so many other ways. I can't wait to talk about it after. Like there's all kinds of other stuff in this play too that seems very current. Right. So it's great. It's great.
Valentine. That's what it was last.
Valentine, Valentine,
I,
Valentine.
I kept saying Valentine, and then I looked at it. I was like, Valentine, like the.
It's probably because Siobhan was playing it, and as a woman, you might have thought, well, it can't be Valentine because you know what I mean. I don't know.
Maybe on some subconscious level that could have been part.
I wondered about that myself. And she did a great reading, by the way.
Oh my God, she was awesome.
Yeah, she really was. So I sent her a private message just telling her that. So it was really good. Everybody was good.
Yeah.
These plays are so like fabulous to dig into. This is so fabulous.
Yeah. Looking forward to the next like couple of weeks here.
Yeah, exactly. There's quite the roller coaster ride of.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed as I was just logging on here that there's a message from Bo, but I'll look at it after the reading. He's obviously responded to us about dates or something.
Oh, great! I didn't see that.
It just came through like a minute before I logged on.
Oh yeah, there it is. Fantastic. Okay, great. That's awesome.
That's really good. And like I said to you, I got in touch with him about period study just because I thought, well, I want to get that ball rolling if it's something that would be interesting. And of course, he's really interested in doing that. So yay. So that's good.
Great.
So soon people will start arriving, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I'm just going to zoom. I'm going to walk away from the camera for a minute. I'm going to let my dog in. I'll be right back. It's usually what you're doing.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay. I just got a message here saying you've asked me to start my video.
Yeah, just because I turned it off for a moment.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, great. Now
We got some folks coming joining us.
great. I like your background.
Thanks. Trying something new here. Hello, hello.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Yay.
And I'm just here for that facial hair, Henry. That's awesome.
Thank you. That is all my parents encouraging that out of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're like, it's quarantine, so like you might as well finally try and see what your facial hair looks like.
Right? It's like now or never, right?
Exactly.
My excuse in like first year was Movember.
Yeah.
Well, it's Movember now. I'm allowed to do this. And then Movember turned into December to January.
Yeah.
Like 2 years of my life.
Now that I see this, I'm like, oh, I should have just had this for Spanish Golden Age.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh well.
Speaking of which, how's it going, Mr. Artistic Director?
I was actually trying to change my name now. How are you
Trying to claim
doing?
some status here.
Well, I mean, just a little bit of privilege wherever I can get it.
Nice, nice.
How is everyone doing?
Good.
Oh my
Good. Yes.
Are you doing some puppet work for Tiresias?
I was not going to, but I'm now looking at my puppet and I'm like,
Yeah.
Last minute.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned.
Fair enough. It's
Dude,
always-
Diago, I've been loving your videos so far.
Oh, thank you.
They're just an absolute delight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it has been really, really cool seeing them. We shot them a couple of weeks ago, so now seeing them all up in there is pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Oh, of course.
How are you doing, Muhadisa?
Not bad. How are you?
Good. Happy to see you.
Yeah, you too. Oh, I love the Greeks, so I'm very happy right now.
I thought you did. I remember that from when you were at U of T. So
Yeah, we did the Oresteia, and I've just been desperate to do more Greek, so this is great.
excellent. Happy to have you. That's so good. Now, how are we doing for everybody?
We're waiting on Elite. Oh, there she is. Alessandro.
Just got a message from Michaela. She's just trying to get some internet issues dealt with. She'll be with us in a
Right.
sec.
The classic. She's out in Prince Edward County still?
In the county again. She's been in Toronto all these weekends, but working, right? And then anyway, we can't have it all.
No.
Oh, Alexis is here. Is she? It's an empty room, but she's here.
Yeah.
There she is. Yay. Hey.
I'm trying to work on my lighting,
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
but it's not great. But
We always just do our best.
I got all dressed up. I have a little Grecian
Oh,
gown on and
oh wow.
Oh,
everything. And I'm looking at all you in t-shirts and tank tops looking far more comfortable than I am.
Well, we encourage costuming when it makes sense or when it's possible, and otherwise it's doesn't
And
matter.
this has been sitting in my musty basement just waiting for its day of glory. So I'm grateful that we're on Zoom and you don't have to smell it.
So we got a couple more coming, eh?
Turn around.
Hey, Michaela.
Hi.
You got it working. That looks great. Oh, there is a cat in this one. Michaela was maybe going to have her cat in it too. It would have become Oedipus the cat. So who else was trying to get in? But Alessandro, yay!
Hello.
Yay, hello, hello. How are we doing, Stefan? Is everybody here? Do we have Shaylin? You got a haircut. Looks
I
great.
did chop it off.
It looks
More.
great. Looks
Yeah.
great. It's perfect for Crayoon.
Exactly.
Oh, Sebastian is in it in this show too, I see.
He always needs to say hello.
That's so good.
He's a bit obsessed with Zoom. He always jumps up, but then he turns away and acts all aloof
Oh, I see.
like that.
I love it. Have we heard? I'm going to do a whole play about waiting for Zoom. Every Zoom you ever go on, there's this whole period of silence at the beginning while we're waiting for everyone. So
Hey, sorry, I've also been having some internet troubles, so I just got my extender. I
Oh.
hope
Oh, Jesus.
fixes it.
That's okay. You only have a tiny part, so.
Yeah, I know. I was like, well, I'm always worried that like if my internet cuts out, then the whole thing just shuts down. But I think, thank God, it didn't. Like I left the room and I think everything just carried on as normal.
Yes, yes, we didn't know. I knew you weren't, because suddenly this one was in the waiting room. So I knew you weren't letting them in, but we still have, do we know what happened? Have you heard anything from Shaylin?
Yeah, she's here.
Oh, she's here. How come she's not showing up on my thing?
She maybe is. I don't know how big your gallery is.
Oh, there you are. Hi. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, great. So that should be everybody, right?
Yep.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Shall I begin?
Yeah.
All right. So, hey everyone, this is exciting. It's wonderful. I'm going to give Stefan a bit of a break this time and talk through the mechanics so that he can prepare to play this tiny role that he's playing. For those of you that are here as audience, that's fantastic. But you could also watch on the live stream YouTube link if you want, which is, I discovered a really cool way to watch these things. It looks really good. So if that, Stefan has put up the link in Quaranteam if you want to do that, that's great. The first thing I'd like to do is just to go through everyone, because I know that not everyone knows everyone. We have a few new people this time. So I'll just say your name, and if you could say hi and tell us where you are zooming in from and what part you're playing. So why don't we start with Aliyah.
Hello. I'm Alina. I'm calling in from Victoria, BC, and I'm reading the role of a priest of Zeus.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yay. Let's go to Alessandro.
Hello, my name is Alessandro. I'm in Sudbury, Ontario, and I'm reading Creon.
Great. Excellent. Crayoon. We'll go through that in a minute. That's great. Santiago?
I was just writing down how to pronounce that name.
Don't worry, I'm going to go through.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Santiago Guzman. My pronouns are he, him. and I am playing Tiresias.
Yep, correct. And where are you calling?
Oh, and I am in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador.
Beautiful, excellent. Alexis?
Hi, I'm Alexis. I'm also in St. John's, and I'm reading Yocasta.
Yay, excellent. Yay, can't wait. That's so great. Kyle?
Hi, I'm Kyle. I'm calling from balmy, beautiful Toronto, and I will be reading The Messenger of Corinth.
Corinth, yeah, Corinth.
Corinth, yes.
Corinth. Yeah, that's great. Excellent, yay. Your picture is great there. We can tell you're in Toronto. Terrific. Christoph?
Hi, I'm Christoph. I'm calling in from Toronto, and I'm going to be reading the part of Chorus 3 as well as The Servant.
The herdsman. And we
herdsman.
just have to say that Christoph only had about an hour's notice, a last minute switch to jump into the herdsman. So we're really grateful. And thank you for your enthusiasm and for saving us. So that's so great. Muhadisa.
Hi, my name is Mahadissa. I don't know if my internet's failing on me, but I am calling in from Mississauga, and today I'm reading for the Palace Messenger.
Great. Yeah, you're there. We see you. It's a little fractured, but you're there. That's beautiful. Thank you. Terrific. Shailin?
Hi, I'm Shaylin. I am also calling in from beautiful Toronto that I have blocked out, unfortunately. And I will be reading as Chorus 1.
Terrific. Thank you. Excellent. Michaela?
Hello, I'm Michaela. I'm in Prince Edward County right now, and I will be reading Chorus 2.
Excellent. Terrific. Yay. And Henry?
Hi, I'm Henry. I'm zooming in from Guelph, Ontario, and I am reading for Chorus 4.
Excellent. Thank you. And finally, last but not least, Stefan.
Hi there, I'm Stefan. I'm calling in from Toronto, which I've also blocked out for the first time since we've started this. You don't see my bed behind me. Yeah, and I'm playing Oedipus.
Great. All right. So on that note, a couple of things, just technical things for those of you who have done this with us before. You know most of this already, but I'll just run through it. It works best if you turn your camera and mic off when you exit. So when you leave the stage, turn those off, and then when you come back on, you can turn them back on, and it gives us a great sense of entrances and exits. The chorus is on stage all the time, although that may not be obvious to you. They are listening to everything. Everything is public, so it would be helpful to us if you can see the chorus at all times. Except for Christoph will have to make a quick exit as a chorus member to re-enter as the herdsman and then get back as the chorus member. Also, for those of you, I'm not sure that we'll have many non-video participants or audience members who aren't on video or mic, but you could hover over somebody. Is there anybody here in the room? Can you tell, Stefan? No? I think Trudy went to the video.
Just one, I think Sharon is still here.
Oh, Sharon is here. Okay. So if Sharon's box shows up in your views, you can hover over it and you'll see 3 little dots and you can select hide non-video participants.
I can go move to YouTube. So no
you
worries.
don't have to. You so don't have to. It's not you. It's for us so that our.
Of course. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So that's great. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to run through the pronunciations that I sent you, but please remember that this is all just a very light guide track. You are not required to be perfect with these, but mostly if you're just curious as to what the pronunciations are, and maybe we can find some consistency. There's a lot of controversy with Greek stuff over pronunciation because a lot of it is interpretive. The sounds, the ancient Greek sounds are different. So for instance, I had a great conversation today with Christoph about C and K and S, and different translators translate those letters differently. And you'll see in here, I've just chosen some of the more common pronunciations for the purposes of today, but it is actually a really interesting thing. So Oedipus, Yocasta, Creun, Tiresias, Athene, Phoebus, Laius, and that one is used, Laius is said so often, so we might as well get that one in our heads. Laius. Delphi, the oracle at Delphi. Thrace. Bacchus. Maenads. Pythion. Polybus. Phokis. Merope. Citheron, and this is the one that starts with a K in the way it's written for you. It's written Kitharon, but it's pronounced Citheron or Citheron. It's one of the controversial letters but so Citheron will do for us. Hermes of Selene, Labdicus. Now this one is spelled Labdikids, but it's pronounced Labdicus. And then we have Menicius, and that's Menioikeos, Menicius. It's another one of those K's that's pronounced as an S. And just do your best. I did put those in the little chat box, so you probably have copies of it yourselves. There are also sounds. Wonderful thing about this play is that there are organic, expressive, emotional sounds that are just represented by, letters. And feel free when you have one of those I sort of things to do whatever you want with it in terms of the emotional sound. Don't worry about, there's an oh no coming from Stefan. Are we losing your internet? Okay.
No, just talking with Shaylin about the pronunciation guide.
Oh, she didn't get it?
Yeah, she's just having trouble opening it. That's all.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. All right. So, and again, don't worry about it. This is not an exact science. Please don't worry about it. Okay. There will be no stage directions read. We don't need to, because this play, there is nothing that isn't expressed just by your entrances and exits, but I'm going to indicate every scene shift. So from an episode to the chorus alone, back to the next episode with the Chinese block. Something like that. So that sound will happen between scenes just to give us a little idea that we're shifting. But no, I won't say anything. Great. I also would like to just give a land acknowledgement and to explain for those of you who are new today, we generally give the land acknowledgement from the position of the facilitator because we're beautifully and wonderfully across all of Canada. So I'm in St. John's, so I'm going to give this land acknowledgement from my point of view here in St. John's, where we respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and the Beothuk. We also like to recognize the Inuit and the Innu and their ancestors as the original people of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation, and that we honor this beautiful land together. All right, I'm going to set the scene and then you are all going to take over. So the city of Thebes is in the throes of a plague, or perhaps a pandemic. The people are desperate. We have gathered in front of the palace to plead with our king, King Oedipus. We're pleading with him to find a way to save us. Have we done something wrong? Are the gods angry with us? We look to our king for answers.
Children of Thebes, why are you sitting here? The city overflows. Incense, prayers for the sick, moans. I didn't want to hear secondhand reports of some messenger, so I came here myself, the renowned Oedipus. Old man, you look like a fit spokesman for these people. Tell me, why have you come? Is it fear? Something you want? You know I will do what I can. I would be shorn of all compassion if I didn't pity you now as you sit here.
Oedipus, you are ruler of our land. Look at us. Fledglings, over here, over there, bodies bent with age. Myself, a priest of Zeus. Here and there, the best of our youth. Others have gone to the 2 temples of Athene to try and find some guidance, a prophecy in the ashes of the altars. Our city tosses in a storm, plunging into troughs of bloody waves. Desolation everywhere. Wasted cattle grazing wasted fields. Ravaged women bearing shreds of wasted children. This feverish god presses down his hateful plague on the inhabitants of Thebes, and death reaps the laments. It is not that we think of you as a god, but you are a man with much experience and in touch with spiritual matters. It was you who came to Thebes and rid us of that relentless tax, the cruel strongstress. A god must have helped you then to bring back order into our lives, and now, all-powerful Oedipus, you must help us again, whether you have to seek divine inspiration or the help of mere men. I know that a man who has experienced much in the past can give effective advice about the future. You are celebrated for your former actions. Don't let yourself be remembered as the one who saved the city only to destroy it. Bring us security, as before when you appeared to us like the promise of good fortune. You want to be a master of this land? What reward in ruling over a deserted city? No ship, no battlement is worth much once emptied of the living.
Children, I know all this. I know of your pain, which is great, but not as great as mine. Each of you feels only for himself. I feel for the city, for myself, and for all of you. I've not slept. I have been weeping, explored endless avenues of thought. I came up with one possible remedy, which I immediately put into action. I've sent my brother-in-law, Creon, to the oracle of Apollo to discover what I might do or say to save this city. He has left some time ago. Too long ago. This worries me. When he comes back, I will do what I must. Only a bad man would ignore what God says.
You've spoken well. Some people have just seen Creon. They're signaling to me now.
Apollo, let his troubled countenance signify untroubled fortunes.
He seems to bring good news. He's crowned with laurels.
We'll know soon enough. Creon, kinsman, what has God said?
Good things. Even the greatest troubles, once put right, end well.
What are you saying? Your words don't alarm, don't reassure.
If you want these people to hear, I'll speak. Otherwise, we could go inside.
Speak in front of everyone. I bear more pain for these people than for my own soul.
This is what I heard from the god. Phoebus urged us clearly to drive out the pollution, a defilement nurtured in this land, not to let this deadly thing grow until the damage becomes irreparable, incurable.
How do we purify our land? What's causing this?
By banishment, or spilling blood for blood, blood that is wrecking our city.
Well, who is the man who must suffer such a fate?
Before you governed the city, Laius was our ruler.
Yeah, I've heard of him, but I never saw him.
We are ordered to punish his murderers, whoever they may be.
Where on earth are they? I mean, how can we find traces of this hidden crime?
He said, in this land, what is sought is found, what is kept dark remains hidden.
Was Laius at home, in the country, abroad where he died?
He was on his way to the oracle. He never returned.
Did no messenger come and report? Did none who were traveling with him see anything?
All died except for one. He fled, terrified, and assured us he had nothing to say. He was certain of only one thing.
What? We can hope to learn a lot from a small fact.
He spoke of several robbers falling on him, of the strength of many hands.
How could a robber be so bold unless he were paid? and sent from here.
We thought of that, but with Laius murdered, we had no one to help us in the terrible troubles that followed.
Troubles could be so great that they kept you from seeking the murderer of your king.
The Sphinx sang her riddles. She forced us to deal with the immediate and forget a murky past.
I will start again and make everything clear. It was right of the god and proper of you to turn your attention to the matter of this dead man, and you will find in me an ally of this man and of the god. I will rid us of this abomination, not only on behalf of distant friends, but for my own sake. Whoever killed that man could apply an equally fierce hand to my person. I must help Laius and myself at the same time. And now, children of Thebes, you can rise from these steps. Take away your branches and let all of Thebes know that I mean to leave nothing untried. With the help of this god, we will bring everything to light, or else we will fail.
Let us go. We have obtained what we sought from this man, and may Phoebus, having given his oracle, come to us, save us, and heal us.
Welcome, voice of Zeus. Come to famous Thebes for gold-rich Delphi. But for what?
Fear, my heart beats, shakes. This fear, torture, terror racks me.
Delian healer, awe-cloaked, is this a new calamity unknown? Or the return seasonal, revolving of something past?
Tell me, deathless voice, child of a golden hope.
We call on you first, daughter of Zeus, eternal Athene, and then on your sister, earth-encircling Artemis, whose throne dominates our marketplace, and on Apollo, whose darts no one escapes. You can turn fate back, away. Come to me if you ever drove suffering from our borders once before, then come again now.
I bear countless sorrows, all my citizens ill. No spear-like thought to cut us free. Nothing grows in the earth, nothing in the wombs of women. Look, one life after another flies off, swifter than a bird. Death speeds with the crackle of a forest fire.
The city dies again and again. Offsprings lie on the ground spreading death. No one pities their pain. No one laments their end. Wives, mothers, gray-haired come from all parts to the steps of the altars, crying out the bitterness of pain. Prayers for healing, cries for the dead mount in unison.
From all this, golden daughter of Zeus, friend, defend us. Give us strength.
Let the plague-bearing god Ares, appearing not in the bronzed glitter of war, but in a mantle of screams, let him turn back, away from our borders, blown over the Atlantic, or sent north to the bleak shores of Thrace.
Whatever escapes destruction at night succumbs by day. Zeus, master of lightning, of fire, smash this god of plague with your thunder.
Apollo, god of light, defend us with your golden arrows. Artemis, defend us with the hunting flares that sparkle on your hills.
And Bacchus, companion of Maenads, Bacchus of golden headband and face flushed with wine, defend us with the flame of your torches. You three gods, come and defend us against this ungodly god.
You pray, and I can help you with your troubles if you listen to what I say and make the effort to help yourselves. I speak as a stranger to this story, a stranger to these events, not able to track anything down without some sign. But since I am now rated your countryman, I have this to say to you Thebans. Whoever knows what man killed Laius, that man must reveal himself to me. And if he is afraid, let him know that if he denounces himself and does not wait for another to point him out, he will suffer nothing worse than to leave the land unharmed. And if someone knows this murderer, whether he comes from here or from abroad, let him speak. He will be paid, favored. I will do this out of gratitude. But if you insist on keeping silent, fearing for a friend or for yourselves, then I will do the following. Listen carefully. Whoever this man is, I forbid anyone in the land over which I hold power and favor, I forbid anyone to receive him at home, to give him water, to pray with him, or to join him in sacrifices to the gods. I order everyone to drive this man out, for this man is the pollution, the blight in our midst, the pollution the Pythian god has revealed to me. I will be God's ally, and this murdered man's. And I pray that the killer, whether he lives in secret or is known to many, I pray this man's pitiful life collapses and crumbles in wretched decay. And I also pray that if this man should be sharing my house, unknown to me, or if I should be harboring him knowingly, then I pray that the same wretchedness befall me as I have just called down on these people. And I am relying on you to help me achieve this end. For my own sake, for the sake of the god, and for the sake of this land which is dying, without fruit, abandoned by the god. And if I say that even if the god had not sent you this plague, it was still wrong of you to allow this defilement. Your own king, the best of men, was killed. You ought to have looked into it. But now I hold this man's power, his bed, and the same woman who was his wife. And if he had not been unlucky in his hope of a family, we would have children in common. But fate cut that man down. And so I will fight for him as if he were my own father. I will attain my end and catch the murderer amongst us. And I pray that anyone who tries to hinder me be deprived of the fruit of the earth, of children, that his destiny be one of ruin and worse. And you, Thebans, who approve of what I have said, may justice be your ally, and the gods your friends.
I will now speak under oath, Lord. I did not kill him, nor can I point to the killer. But since this request comes from Phoebus, can he not tell us who did it?
And no man can compel the gods against their will.
I could suggest the second best thing.
Well, don't neglect even a third possibility.
There is Tiresias. He sees eye to eye with Apollo. He could clarify the matter.
I can tell that I've neglected nothing, and at Creon's suggestion, I've sent for him twice. His delay is odd.
Some old and muted rumors.
It was said he was killed by travelers.
Yes, but no one has seen the survivor.
When the murderer hears your curses, he'll flee in terror.
He will not be afraid of words who is not afraid to act.
The man who can convict him is being led this way, the man of truth, the divine prophet.
Tiresias, you can fathom many things, hidden, manifest, heavenly, earthbound. You do not see, but you know the affliction that wraps this city. And now only you can protect us. Only you can save us. We are instructed by the god to find the killers of Laius. You have probably already heard this. Please withhold nothing. A message from the birds, another form of divination, and rescue yourself, me, and all of us from this terrible pollution. We depend on you. The man who applies all of his resources, all of his faculties to help others is a noble man indeed.
To understand. And there is no good in understanding. I had known, I had let it go, I wouldn't have come here.
What's this? What? So despondent?
Let me go home. You live out your life more easily, and so will I.
It is not right or friendly to speak like this to a city which keeps you. You must not hold back.
Your words are ill-judged. I don't want mine to be.
Don't, when you have knowledge from the gods, turn away from us. We all prostrate ourselves before you. We beg you.
You all know nothing. I cannot reveal my troubles. Yours.
What? You know something but won't speak. You're willing to betray us and ruin the city?
I won't distress you or myself. Why do you tease these things in vain? Will you not listen to me?
Evil of evil men. You'd anger a rock. Won't you speak? Won't you come to the point?
You complain of my temper. You don't see what you live with.
Who wouldn't be angered listening to you insult this city?
It will happen, wrap it in silence even then.
Ought you not to tell me what will happen?
I won't say any more. Burst with anger if you wish.
I am bursting with anger because of what I now understand. Yes, I think you are the one who planned this deed and executed it, short of killing Laius, with your own hand. And had you your eyes, I believe you would have done it on your own.
Is that the truth? And I tell you that you ought to obey your own decree, and from this day forth never again speak to these people or to me, because you are the noxious pollution of this land.
You spew out these words and hope to escape?
I have escaped. The truth is strong, and I have it.
Ha! Who taught it to you? Not your craft.
You did. You pushed me unwilling, and I said it.
What? What? Say it again. I want to learn more.
Didn't you understand before? You want more?
Not well enough. Say more.
I say you are the murderer you seek.
You won't escape with these infamies.
Shall I say more and increase your anger?
As much as you like. Waste our time.
I say that you, unaware, unconscious, without shame, have been consorting with your loved ones, and you do not see towards what troubles you are heading.
You think you can say all this and keep enjoying yourself?
If there is any might in truth.
There is, except with you. You are blind in your ears and mind and your eyes. There's nothing with you.
You are pitiful to throw insults at me, which you yourself will hear soon enough.
You're fed by darkness. How could you hurt me or anyone else who lives by the light?
I do not need to bring on your fate. Apollo will do that. It is in his care.
Are these inventions yours or Crayoon's?
Crayoon's is not your calamity. You yourself are.
Wealth, power, extraordinary skill, and a reputable life? There, envy lies in wait, watches you. Now, for the sake of a throne I never craved, Crayoon, once loyal, a friend from the beginning, Crayoon now stalks, sly, and plots to overthrow me, and secretly hires this juggler, this quack, this magus, completely blind as to his so-called skill, but sharp-eyed when it comes to his own gain. Yes, tell us about your wise prophecies. What did you have to say when riddling Sphinx dog howled her rhapsodies? How did you release the people? It wasn't just any man who could solve the riddle. It needed divination. Where were your twittering birds then? Where was your godly knowledge? But I, alone, I, Oedipus, knowing nothing, I stopped the Sphinx, learning the answer by thought, not by twitching of birds. And now you want to get rid of this man, me, so you can stand behind a crayon-filled throne? If you didn't look so decrepit, I'd make you suffer. Yes, you'd feel the full weight of your thoughts.
It seems to me this man and you as well, Oedipus, have spoken in anger. There is no need for this, but rather we need to consider how best we can be free from God's pronouncement.
You may be the master here, but there exists an equal right of reply. I have that right. I am not your slave, but the gods. nor I am Creon's hireling. And I say this, you call me blind, but you look with your eyes and can't even see where you're going, what troubles lies ahead. Nor do you see where you live or with whom. Do you even know your parents? And you don't know that you're abhorrent to your own, both below and on this earth. And a double-lashed curse from your mother and your father will one day with a swift and terrible tread chase you from this land. You see now, you see straight, but then darkness. There will not be space enough in this whole region to hold your cries. No, your tears will lap the slopes of Cithaeron when you understand your marriage. These heathen you sailed into seemingly lucky. No heathen at all. And you do not sense the quantity of other trouble swooping down on you, making you the equal of your children. Scoof. Hurl your insults at me, at Creon. No mortal before you will have been so miserably ground down as you.
Do I have to listen to this anymore? Why aren't you dead? Turn away. Turn back.
I wouldn't have come if you hadn't called me.
Oh, if I'd known I'd hear such moronic words, I'd have asked you not to hurry.
I seem mad to you, but I am wise to your parents, those who gave you birth.
Which mortals gave me birth?
The day that begets you also destroys you.
You speak in only riddles and obscurities.
Aren't you the best qualified to read them?
Oh, yeah, laugh. You can't belittle my accomplishments.
Chance and chance will ruin you.
It doesn't matter how I did it, as long as I saved the city.
I am going now. Lead me, child.
Yes, lead him away. I'll feel lighter when you're gone.
I am going. I am not afraid of you, and I'll say what I have to say to you. You cannot destroy me. And I tell you this, the man you seek with your threatening proclamations, claiming to instigate a long search for the murder of Laius, that man is here. Believed to be an alien, but he will be revealed a native Theban, and he will not rejoice at this fact. Once he saw, now he will be blind. He was rich, he will turn beggar, tapping his pitiable way on the hard ground of foreign soul. Father and brother of his own children, son and husband of the same woman, mingling his seed in the same place as the father he murders. Go inside, examine this, and if you find I have lied, then I say I don't understand prophecy.
Ooh, who has committed the unspeakable? Bloody hands, let him flee fast on his feet, a galloping horse. Watch the foam lace his neck. The son of Zeus glares on him. The fates pursue him, relentless.
Track him down. Track down this troubled, muddied man. That's what the message means. I see him in a wood, in a cave, bereaved, alone, shirking the oracles, but they're always there around him, encircling, tightening.
Terrible. This prophet upsets me. I can't agree, I can't deny. I never heard of a quarrel between the Thebans and our master, the son of Polybus. And Oedipus is popular. I cannot go against his reputation for the sake of a death long ago because of a remote tale.
Zeus and Apollo know. Does the prophet know? We can't be sure. Another man could be wiser.
I'd want more proof before I sided against Oedipus. That riddling, singing girl was worsted in combat with him. He was good to the city. I can't believe he is evil.
Men of the city, I've become aware of the terrible things our ruler Oedipus has been saying about me. It is unbearable. If I have harmed him in any way by words or actions, I don't want to live anymore. It's much more than a mere physical injury to be called harmful to the city, to my friends, and to you.
Perhaps there was more anger than judgment when those words came out.
But did he say it was my idea to persuade the prophet to spread lies?
It was said, perhaps without judgment.
Was his eye clear, his mind sane when he hurled that accusation at me?
I don't know. I don't look too closely at those in power.
What are you doing here? How dare you show yourself, murderer, would-be robber of my power? Tell me, did you think me a coward? Or merely stupid to make such plans? Did you think you could creep up on me and I wouldn't notice? How foolish could you be to seek to rule without wealth, without friends? Don't you know power requires popular support, money?
Do this. Listen to me. Learn, then judge.
A clever speech. I have nothing to learn. I have found you my enemy, an oppression.
Something I can explain.
Something you need not say, that you're not bad.
Obstinacy is desirable. You are mistaken.
If you think your wronging your kin is justifiable, then you are mistaken.
That is well said. But teach me in what way I have wronged you.
Did you, or did you not, advise me to send for that magnificent prophet?
Yes, and I hold to that advice.
How long is it since Laius
Did what? I don't understand.
disappeared mysteriously by violent hands?
A long time ago, measured.
Was this prophet then exercising his craft?
Equally wise, equally honored.
Did I come to his mind then?
Not when I was around.
And were you not able to search for the murderer?
We inquired, we heard nothing.
And so, why didn't this wise man say something
I
then?
don't know, and when I don't know, I like to keep quiet.
You know this, and you can say it.
What? If I know, I will.
That if he were not in league with you, he wouldn't have called me the killer of Laius.
You know if he is saying these things. But now you must answer me as I have answered you.
I'll answer, but I will not be trapped as the murderer.
Didn't you marry my sister?
I can't deny it.
You rule this land with her.
I give her whatever she wants.
And am I equal to you both?
And this makes you an evil friend.
Not if you were to follow my reasoning. Consider this first. Why would anyone want to rule subject to fear when he can enjoy the same power and sleep soundly? I don't wish to be a ruler, but only to have the advantages of a ruler. That is prudent. Now I have whatever I want from you. As a ruler, I would do what I had to, not always a pleasant task. I have power, I have painless influence. Why should I wish to rule? I want riches, good things. All men wish me well, greet me. Anyone who wants you seeks me out. I am their hope. Why should I give all that up for something else? Finally, if you think I have plotted with the prophet, why don't you send the oracle? Why don't you send to the oracle and see if I reported what it said correctly? And if you find me guilty, I'll be condemned twice, once by you, once by myself. But don't condemn me with no more than a private suspicion.
He spoke well. He took care. It's dangerous to think too quickly.
When someone creeps stealthily upon me, I must be quick to stop him. If I stand still, inactive, he will succeed, and I will fail.
What do you want to do? Exile me from this land?
Not at all. I want your death, not your escape. You will be an example of what happens to the envious.
You won't believe me? You are not thinking carefully.
I am thinking for myself.
You should think of me equally.
You are bad.
What if you have no judgment?
I must rule.
Even rule badly.
Oh, city, city!
I belong to this city too.
Stop, lords. Yocasta comes here. None too soon. She can settle this.
You fools. Why this senseless argument? Aren't you ashamed of airing a private quarrel when this country is so stricken? Go back to your palace, and you, Crayon, to your house, and don't turn a petty grief into a great one.
Sister, your husband Oedipus condemns me to one of two evils, exile or capture and death.
I have caught him plotting evilly against me.
May I never find happiness. May I die accursed if I have done any of these things, he said.
You must believe him, Oedipus, out of respect for the oath he has now sworn to the gods, for my own sake, and for that of these people as well.
Take heed, Lord. Think carefully. Relent, we pray you.
You want me to yield?
Respect a man who never thought a fool before and who is now ennobled by his oath.
Do you know what you ask?
I know.
Say it clearly.
He is a friend. He has sworn an oath. Do not dishonor him because of an obscure rumor.
Then you are asking for my own death, my own exile.
By the sun, God of gods, this isn't so. It would be the last thing on my mind, but I am in despair. The land wastes away, tears at my heart. And now there's this new quarrel that adds to our old troubles.
Let him go then. Even if it means my certain death, my dishonorable exile. God, your words bring on my pity, not his. He will be hated wherever he is.
You yield without grace. Your anger exceeds all bounds. Such natures oppress themselves.
Leave me. Go.
I'm going, misunderstood by you, but still the same man as I was for these people.
Woman, why delay? Take this man back to the palace.
Tell me first how this misfortune came about.
Words bred suspicion, and their injustice feeds.
On both sides?
Yes.
What words?
Enough, enough. I think about our land. Let it stop where it started.
You see how it goes? You mean well, but you blunt my resolve. You make me weak.
Lord, I will say it again and again. I would be insane, totally without judgment, to let you go. You who once piloted this beloved land through distraught times and now might guide us to safety again.
Tell me, Lord, for the gods' sakes, what has caused such a rage?
I will. I honor you above all. His Crayoon and his plots.
Tell me clearly how the quarrel began.
He says, I am the established murderer of Laius.
He knows this himself, or he learned it from someone?
He sent the ill-omened prophet so that he might keep his own mouth clean.
Absolve yourself, Oedipus, and learn why no mortal can ever be infallible in the art of prophecy. I'll prove this to you. An oracle came to Laius once, not necessarily from Apollo himself, but from one of his priests, and it said that his fate was to die at the hands of the child born to us both. And now they say that Laius was murdered by foreign robbers at the fork where the three paths meet. And anyway, the child hadn't been alive 3 days before Laius fastened his ankles with pins and had him thrown onto a mountain well away from any path. And so Apollo did not make this happen. The child did not become a murderer, and Laius did not suffer the terrible fate he feared at the hands of his child. And yet these things were foreseen, and so don't heed them. When the god wants something to happen, he will reveal it himself.
My soul, my mind. What upheavals as I listen to you, my wife.
What thoughts turn you so?
I thought I heard you say that Laius was killed at the meeting of 3 roads.
It was said. It still is.
Where did this happen?
The land is called Phokis. The road branches in 2. One road leads to Delphi, the other to Dahlia.
How much time has passed since all this happened?
We heard about it shortly before you were proclaimed our ruler.
God, what will you do with me?
What is it, Oedipus? What disturbs you so?
Don't ask now. What was Laius's bearing like? How old was he?
Tall? Hair lightly silvered, not unlike you in shape.
Oh, me. And I hurled dread curses at myself then unknowingly.
What are you saying? I look at you, shrink back, fear.
Oh, despair. Did the prophet see after all? Tell me one more thing, and I'll have proof.
This fear. But I will say what I know.
Did he go with a small escort or with the retinue that befits a king?
There were 5. One was a herald. Laios was in a chariot.
Aye, aye. All is revealed. Who told this to you, wife?
A servant, the only one who survived.
Is he in the palace now?
No. When he came back and saw you in power and Laios dead, he begged me to send him to the country so that he could be as far away from the sight of the city. I sent him. He was a good man, even though a slave. He was worth granting such a request, even more.
Could he come to us quickly?
Yes, but what for?
I fear for myself. I have said too much. I want to see him.
He will come. But am I not worthy to learn of your burdens, Lord?
You will. Who better than you? My hopes have come to this. My father was Polybus from Corinth. My mother, the Dorian Merope. I was brought up as the first citizen of the city until a chance encounter, rather strange, worthy of wonder, but perhaps not worthy of my own reaction. A man at a banquet filled with too much wine said, drunk, said I was not the true son of my father. I restrained myself then, despite my distress. But the next day I went to my mother and father and I questioned them. They were furious at the man who had let such words escape him. They reassured me, but I was vexed. I mean, it remained. The insult rooted, grew, and unknown to my mother and father, I went to the oracle. Apollo sent me away ignorant as to that matter, but he brought forth a terrible utterance concerning me. He said that I would intermingle with my mother, that my family would be abhorrent to the sight of men, and that I would be the murderer of my own father. Having heard all this, I fixed my route by the stars to get as far away as possible from Corinth and keep these terrible predictions from being realized. I was walking. I came to the region where you say Laios died. To you, my wife, I'll tell the truth. I was coming down the road, near the meeting of the 3 roads, the fork, when I met the herald and a man on board a chariot, as you say. The herald and the man in the chariot ordered me aside. The driver jostled me. I struck him in anger. The old man saw this, and as the chariot came beside me, he struck me with a double goad. I retaliated and struck him with my stick. He rolled out of the chariot. And then I killed them all. And if that man had the blood of Laios in him, who would be more abject than the man you see here? What man would be more revolting to the gods? A man who must not be received in anyone's house by strangers or by citizens. The man who must never be spoken to but driven out of the city. It was I who called the curses out on that man, Laios. When I touch anything of this man, put my hand on his bed, the defilement, the horror, it is also the hand that killed him. Am I evil? unholy, defiled. Must I flee? And fleeing, never again set foot on my own land? In marriage, am I wed to my own mother? Killed my father, Polybus, who nurtured me? Can the God who brings these things to pass be called anything but a cruel God? Forbid, forbid, you holy, chaste, and fearful gods, that I should see that day. No. I will walk away from mortals, vanish before I suffer such a calamity.
We shrink in fear from these things, Lord, but we have hope until you find the man who was there.
Yes. Yes, hope. I can wait for this man to come from the country.
But when he comes, what then? Why this haste?
This. If he says the same things as you, then I can escape from the suffering.
But what? What did you hear from me?
You told me he said several robbers killed Laius. One is not the same as several. If he says it was several robbers, then I didn't kill him. But if he says clearly that there was one single man, then the evidence tips against me.
But that is what he said. He can't deny it now. The city heard it, not I alone. And even if he turns away from this story now, even then the oracle would not be correct, because Apollo said that Laius would be killed by my child. That unfortunate being could not have killed him, since he himself died long before. And so I would not look to divination for help with the past, the present, or the future.
Yes, but send someone to summon this man. Look, don't neglect this.
I'll send for him instantly. Now let's go into the palace. There's nothing I would not do for you.
I ask this of fate, purity in word and deed, and especially obedience to the laws. The laws are sublime, born not of this earth, but in heavens. Laws never slacken, never sleep, never grow old. Godly, mighty, impregnable laws.
Hubris beats the tyrant. Hubris fills itself with vanity, misjudgment. It scrambles up, 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 and then tumbles down, down to the inevitable abyss. That's necessary. No foothold there for anyone.
Now, if this struggle is good for the city, then I pray God be my protector.
The one who speaks and acts haughtily, without concern for justice, without reverence for those sacred nooks of the gods. Let a terrible fate seize that man, because he is arrogant, foolish, greedy. Yes, no, don't let him ever boast he can go unpunished, because if he can, why am I here? Why do I speak, dance?
And now I will no longer go to Delphi, unless I find some sense in all this. Zeus, master of all, who hears everything, Zeus, notice this. The oracles concerning Laius are melting away, sliding into darkness, going silent.
Apollo is without honor, and what is sacred vanishes.
Lords of this country, it occurred to me to come here to the temples of the gods with these wreaths and with incense. Oedipus is in turmoil. He no longer judges with the skill of his experience, but he believes whoever speaks, especially if the words are fearful. I cannot help him or advise him, and so I have come to you, Apollo, with these offerings. Help us, release us, as we watch him in his panic lose the helm of the land.
Can you tell me, strangers, where's the palace of Oedipus, and do you know where I might find him?
This is his palace. He is inside, but here is his wife and the mother of his children.
May she be happy and fulfilled, this wife who has borne him children.
And you too, stranger, because of your gracious words. But what is the meaning of your presence?
Good things for your husband.
What? Where have you come from?
From Corinth, and what I have to say will please you, but it will pain you as well.
What is it, this double-edged tiding?
Corinth proclaims Oedipus its king.
What? Isn't Polybus still in power?
No, death holds him.
What did you say? The father of Oedipus is dead?
If I am lying, I hope to die.
Go in now and tell this to your master. Oh, prophecies, where are you now? Oedipus fled this man, afraid he would kill him, and now this man has died in the course of chance, and not by Oedipus' hand at all.
My beloved Jocasta, why did you send for me?
Listen to this man, and think again about so-called prophecies from the gods.
Who is he? What does he have to say to me?
From Corinth, saying your father is dead.
What do you say, stranger? Tell me yourself.
I'll say it clearly. The man, your father, is known to be dead.
The result of a plot or through illness?
A small sinking of the scale kills old bodies.
And so the poor man declined from illness?
And old age.
Why would anyone regard Apollo's hearth or the screeching of birds above, whose guidance made me believe I would kill my father? He died. He lies hidden under the earth. I did not brandish a spear. No, I did not kill him, unless it was his longing for me that destroyed him. In that sense, yes, he might have died because of me. But Polybus takes these oracles down to Hades with him. They are worth nothing.
Didn't I tell you that long time ago?
Yes, but I was lost in my fears.
Don't let your spirit feed on these anymore.
I mean, how can I not fear the bed of my mother?
How can a man fear the accidents of chance? No one has access to the future. It is best not to plan too carefully, but to live as well as one can. Do not fear marriage to your mother. Many men in their dreams have bedded their mother. The one who does not take any of this too seriously bears life more lightly.
This would have been well said if she were not still alive. But she lives, and whatever you say, I must fear.
Surely the tomb of your father brings relief.
I am afraid of the living.
Who is this woman you fear?
Merope, old man, who lived with Polybus.
What is it you fear about her?
A terrible prophecy from the gods.
Can it be told, or must no one know?
Apollo once said that I would intermingle with my mother and spill my father's blood with my own hands. It's because of this that I left Corinth long ago. And yet, the faces of one's parents are sweet to behold.
And it was to avoid these things you became an exile.
Yeah, I did not want to kill my father, old man.
Why have I not released you of this fear, since I came with good intentions?
You would find favor with me.
Yes, I came for that, to gain some benefit with you, to go back to Corinth.
Oh, no, I will not go near my parents.
Noble child, you don't know what you're doing.
What? Well, teach me, by the gods.
If you avoid your home because of these things.
I am afraid the prophecy will prove true.
That you should be guilty of a blood crime towards your parents.
Yes, I've always feared this.
In all justice, you have nothing to fear.
How not? I mean, if I am the child of these parents.
You were not related to Polybus.
What are you saying? Well, Polybus begot me.
No more than the man you see standing here, the same.
How can a progenitor be the same as a stranger?
He did not beget you, nor did I.
Then why did he call me his child?
He once took you from my hands.
How could he love me as his own, coming from other hands?
He could because of his own childlessness.
And did you buy me or stumble upon me?
I found you in the wooded slopes of Citharon.
Why were you traveling in those places?
I was looking for mountain flocks.
Were you a shepherd or a vagabond for hire?
Your savior, too, at that time, child.
You took me to save me from what?
Your ankles would tell you that.
Ah, that terrible pain of old.
I loosed your fettered ankles.
A shame I carry from infancy.
It was an accident that gave you your name.
Who did this? The gods? My mother? My father?
I don't know. The man who gave you to me would know better.
You took me from someone else. You didn't chance upon me.
No, another shepherd gave you to me.
Who is he? Can you tell me?
He was probably one of Leus's men.
Who ruled this land long ago?
Exactly. He was his herdsman.
Is the man still alive? Well, can I see him?
The people here would know best.
Is there anyone here who knows this man? Either in the countryside or here. Make him known to me. The time has come to uncover all this.
I think he is none other than the man out in the country whom you were searching for earlier. Yocasta can tell us more.
Wife, the man we were seeking before, is this the man he speaks of?
Why ask him? Don't waste a thought on it. It's senseless.
I cannot. With all these signs, refuse to bring my family to light.
By the gods, if you care for your life, don't search this out. It is enough that I am ill.
Be sure that even if I am the son of slaves, indeed from generations of slaves, it would not therefore mean you were basely born.
I beg you, don't pursue it.
I can't listen if you tell me not to find these things out.
I know what I am saying. My advice is good.
This good advice of yours has caused me pain for a long time.
Unlucky man. May you never know who you are.
Someone go and bring this herdsman to me. Let this woman enjoy her wealthy family undisturbed.
Oh, ill-fated. That is the only word I have for you. And now, nothing more ever again.
Why has she gone, Oedipus, cracking with grief? This silence. I fear terrible things will burst forth.
Let her crack. As for me, however humble, I want to know my genesis. As a woman, she may think great things of herself and feel ashamed of my obscure descent. I will not feel humiliated. I will call myself the child of chance. I am of that mother, and my brothers are the months of the year, who have sometimes cast me down and sometimes raised me to greatness. And having sprung of such parentage, I would not be any other man in order to remain ignorant of where I came from.
If I am a prophet, if I have clear judgment, then tomorrow, by the full moon, you will be revealed Oedipus's countryman, mountain of Citharon. Yes, his nurse, his mother, and we will celebrate you in dance because of the favors you granted my ruler.
May this please you, Phoebus, Apollo.
Who, child, gave you birth? Who of the nymphs came too close to Pan? Or was it one beloved of Apollo? Apollo, who loves the high mountain and pastures?
Or was it Hermes of Cyllene? Or Bacchus, frenzied dancing over the mountain peaks? He received you, delighted, from a dark-eyed nymph.
Although I have never seen him, I believe I recognize the herdsman we are seeking.
I know him well. He was a loyal shepherd to Laius.
First, I ask you, Corinthian, is this the man you spoke of?
That's him.
Old man, look at me and answer all the questions that I ask. Did you belong to Laius?
I was not bought. I was born into this household.
Where did you live? What did you do?
Most of the time I looked after the herds.
In what area, usually?
Sometimes it was Citharon, sometimes somewhere else, not far from there.
And do you know this man? Did you meet him there?
Doing what? Which man?
This man, have you ever associated with him?
Not so I can call him to mind quickly, no.
Nothing to be surprised at, Master, but I will make him remember. I know he can recall the time when we were both in Cithron. He looked after 2 flocks. I had 1. We spent 3 seasons together, and in the winter I drove my flocks into my folds, and he drove his into Laius's pens. Did these things happen as I tell them, or not?
You speak the truth, but it was a very long time ago.
And now tell me, do you remember at that time giving me a child so that I might raise it myself?
What's this? Why inquire?
This is him, good friend. This is the one who was young then.
Get away. Can't you keep quiet?
Don't beat him, old man. It's your words that will bring down a beating, not his.
How have I done wrong, master?
By saying nothing about the boy in this inquiry.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's fretting over nothing.
If you won't speak as a favor, we'll make you by force.
By gods, don't torment an old man.
Someone quickly twist his hands behind his back.
Why? Unfortunate, why do you wish to learn?
Is it you who gave him the child we're inquiring after?
I did. If only I died that day.
You will now if you don't speak the truth.
And if I do, I am destroyed.
Seems to me this man is bent on delays.
No, I have said it already. I gave it to him a long time ago.
Where did you take him from? Your own house or another's?
By the gods, master, don't inquire further.
You'll die if I have to ask again.
He was born in Laius's household.
A slave? A kindred? To Laius?
Oh, what terrible things I am about to say.
And I to hear. But I will hear them all the same.
He was said to be the child of Laius, but your wife inside can tell you more.
She gave you the child?
Yes, Lord.
For what purpose?
To kill it.
Having given birth to it? Misery.
She was afraid of some bad prophecies.
Which ones?
It was said he would kill his parents.
How could you give him to this man, then?
I took pity, master. I thought he would take him to his own land, but he saved him for the greatest troubles. And if you are the man he says you are, then you were born with an ill fate.
Oh! Go! It all comes clear. Light, let this be the last time I look on you. I, who ought not to have been born the son I was, who ought not to have married the woman I did, who ought not to have killed those I did.
Generations of mortals, I count your life as nothing. For what man wins more than a shadow of good fortune, shadow that fades away. I hold up your faith as paradigm, reckless Oedipus, and I judge no mortal happy.
He aimed highest, he had luck and happiness, wealth. Yes, Zeus, he slew the crooked-clawed oracle-singing maiden. He rose in our city, a bulwark against death.
And so, Oedipus, we call you our king, and we honored you, and you ruled over magnificent Thebes.
Now, who is more abject, more cursed? Whose life has twisted more painfully than yours, renowned Oedipus?
At haven, as son, as father, as bridegroom, how is it the place where your father sowed his seed didn't cry out in horror?
Time sees all and found you out. This marriage against all marriage, bringing forth children there where the father had been born. Child of Laius, I wish I'd never seen you. I lament, I cry out. Let me tell the truth. It was you who brought me back to life. Because of you, I slept soundly again, and now you return me to darkness.
Honorable people of this land, if you are still concerned with the house of Labdacus, prepare yourselves to see, to hear, prepare yourselves for grief. For all the rivers of the world, not the Danube nor the Rhine, could cleanse this house of what lies hidden, what's soon to be revealed. Evils, voluntary and involuntary, and surely the worst of them is the suffering that has been self-inflicted.
We are bowed down by so much suffering already. What are you saying now?
To put it simply and quickly, the godly Yocasta is dead.
Oh, ill-fated woman, how?
Herself. By herself. I didn't see everything. I'll tell what I saw. In a passion of anger, she ran into the hall, made straight for the bridal chamber, tearing her hair with the fingers of both hands, went in, bolted the doors from inside, calls on Laius, long time dead Laius. This memory, his seed, his offspring, cause of death, and now child maker himself, breeding abominable offspring. And so she gives birth to her husband, and from this child husband, other children. Abomination. But now Oedipus bursts in, shouting. We look at him, stumbling, begging for a sword, asks us where he can find the wife not a wife, and the mother whose womb doubled for himself and for his children. And a god must have heard him, we kept away, and seemed to beckon him, and with a terrible shout he rushed to the double doors, forced the bolts, and fell into the room. And there we see the woman, hanging by the neck in a twisted noose of swinging cords. He sees her, howls, howls with a deep, dread cry of misery, loosens the hanging rope, and when the poor woman was laid on the ground, then there were even worse things to see, because ripping her 2 golden brooches from the shoulders of her dress, he raises them up and strikes his eyeballs in their sockets. Ranting, they would not see what evil he was suffering, what evil he was doing. But for the rest of time, darkness would cover those it was not right for him to see, and not let him know those he had wanted to know. He raved on, and not once, but several times, struck his eyes, until the bloody eyeballs dangled over his chin, and didn't spring back. A hail of blood. These just people were once happy, wealthy. Now, today, lamentation, folly, death, shame, all the evils which can be named are present here. None has been missed out.
And now, does this unfortunate man have any respite?
He shouts for the doors to be opened that he may reveal to all Thebans the patricide, his mother's husband, saying things I can't repeat, and saying he will leave the land, but you'll see for yourselves. The doors are opening.
Terrible suffering. The most terrible thing I have ever encountered. What madness, unfortunate one, attacked you? Which of the gods leapt on your fate with such destructive force? Phew, phew. Unlucky. I can't look at you. And yet, so many things to ask, to learn, to examine.
I I, unfortunate, where am I carried in the land? Stricken. Where does my voice sweep to? Oh, destiny, where have you thrust me?
To a terrible place, unspeakable, unwatchable.
Darkness. The cloud came this way, inexorable, would not be diverted. Oi, moi. And more, this piercing pain and the piercing memory of ill.
This is not surprising. Redoubled cry for doubled sorrow.
Ah, friend, you would look after a blind man. Friends,
Man of terrible deeds, how could you extinguish your eyes? What destiny drove you?
Apollo. It was Apollo, friend, who completes these terrible things. This evil I must suffer. But it was my hand that struck, not his. What was there to see? What sweetness? Where to see?
As you say.
What was there to see? What left to love? And seeing to love? Friend, take me away, the murderer of murderers, the cursed of cursed, and of humans, the most hateful to the gods.
Your mind tortures you as much as your pain. How I wish I'd never known you.
Death to the beggar who took me and rescued me. Now I am without God, the child of unholy parents, fertilizing her from whom I myself was born. And if there is any worse evil anywhere to be committed, then Oedipus will be guilty of that too.
I cannot say you have done the right thing. It might have been better for you to die than be blind.
Don't teach me. Don't tell me what I did was wrong. If I had gone to Hades with my sight, how would I look upon my father? My mother? Would the sight of my children have been pleasant? Children born in this way? How could I look upon these walls, these towers, the sacred statues of the gods? I, once the most noble child of Thebes, revealed unholy by the gods. I am supposed to look on the people of the city. No. If I could pierce the sound from my ears, I would do so. Oh, to hear nothing. Wall this body up, blind, deaf in darkness, in silence, in nothing. Away from evil. Why did you receive me, Citharon? Why didn't you kill me on the spot? Then no humans would know my parentage. Polybus, Corinth, you raised me to seem beautiful, and the rot cankered underneath. That meeting of roads, those woods, drank the blood from my hands, blood of the Father. Oh, marriage. Marriage gives me birth. Then the same seed grown produces others, fathers, brothers, children, incestuous blood, brides, wives, mothers, and all the deeds of shame, whatever they are. And so, far from the gods, hide me, kill me, throw me into the sea. Come, touch this unhappy man. Don't be afraid. My evils are mine. It will infect no one but me.
Creon can do this or advise. He comes at the right time, as he alone is left to look after this land instead of you.
What can I say to him? How can he trust me? I was no good to him before.
I'm not here to mock Oedipus, nor to reproach you with your past evil. But you people, even if you no longer respect humanity, respect the fire that lights this world. Do not show such pollution uncovered which neither the earth nor the rain nor the light can bear. Take him into the house, for only the piety of the family makes it fit to see and hear such trouble.
By the gods, since you come, you are the best of men. To me, the worst of men. Listen to me. I speak for you, not for myself.
What do you want so desperately from me?
Expel me from this land as quickly as you can. Somewhere no human being will ever speak to me again.
I would do this, but I must first ask instructions from the god.
He has made it clear. The patricide must die.
It was so, but in our present distress, let us find out more clearly.
Will you ask then, on behalf of this sorrowful man?
Yes, and you yourself will now have faith in the god.
And now let me beg you this, and trust you to do it. Her. Close her tomb, and complete the rites owed to her. You will do this properly. But let me never be allowed to live in this city. Let me go to the hills, to Citharon. My Citharon, which my own mother and father designated as my grave. There let me die at last. My children, don't concern yourself, Crayon, with my sons. They are men. They will live wherever. But my daughters who were never far from me, wherever I sat, ate, care for them, Crayon. And now especially, let me touch them with my hands. And let me cry. Let me cry. If I could touch them with my hands, then I would feel I held them as I did when I could see. What am I saying? I hear them sobbing. Crayon has pitied me and sent for my two beloved offspring. Is it so?
I knew what joy you had in them before.
Oh, good fortune be yours, and for this act a kind spirit protect you as it neglected me. Children, where are you? Come here. Come to these brotherly hands, hands that have put your father in this state. Your father who could not see, could not learn where he came from. I cry for you both. I can't see you now. I think of the life you will lead at the hands of men. The bitter life. What conversations with the people of the city will you have? What festivals will you enjoy? No. You'll come home in tears. And when it's time for you to marry, what man will ignore the insults that clothe you and the risk, the evil of offspring? No one. You'll have to waste away, barren, unmarried. Crayon, child of Minokis, you are their father now. Don't let them wander the world as husbandless beggars. They are your kin. Don't perceive them through my own evil. Pity them. Nod, Lord, touch my hand. Say yes. And you, children, let me only pray that when the moment comes, you be granted a better life than the father who sired you.
Enough now, enough tears. Go into the house.
I must obey. I don't want to.
There is a right time for everything.
When do I leave?
You are asking me for God's answer.
But I am hateful to the gods.
You will know soon enough. They may wish you to leave.
Take me away now.
Go, but leave the children.
Oh, no. No, don't take them away.
You can't rule over everything. Not now. All that you ruled over has left you.
Inhabitants of Thebes, here's Oedipus. He knew riddles. He was a man of power. Few looked on him without envy. See what calamities have come upon him. And seeing this, how can we say anyone is happy until he has crossed to the other side without suffering?
Beautiful work. Beautiful work, you guys. Holy smokes. Absolutely amazing. Amazing. Let's just take a minute to let you guys have a moment to collect yourselves, and then I'd love to talk about this remarkable 2,000-year-old play. We'll take a little break and then we'll come back and talk.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm just going to stay here if anybody else wants to chat about anything. I'm not going to go anywhere. Whew. You're back.
Yeah, that was heavy, man.
It's so heavy. I know it is, but if anybody can carry that weight, you can. Like you.
Thanks, Jeanette. Thank you.
Well done. Well, absolutely. Absolutely. Hats off. Fantastic. Yeah, exactly. And to everyone, and to Santiago for bursting through the costume barrier. And
Yeah, that was so cool, man.
So cool. So cool.
I went all the way and I was like, oh, oops.
Oh, what do you mean, oops?
Well, I thought it was a little bit too much, but then I committed.
It's great.
I would venture to say, like playing Tiresias, the challenge is to find the thing that is him. Like it has to make sense to you, and I thought it was fabulous. It was
Thank
great.
you.
It was really great. All of you, everyone, and staffs. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle just left, but yeah, that staff was awesome.
Oh yeah, he just left. Okay. He left permanently? Oh no, there he is.
No, I'm still here.
We're complimenting your staff, which was great.
Oh, yeah. Well, I even got out a wig too, and I was like, a little too much.
But this is the place to experiment with that stuff anyway.
Sure, yeah, of course.
That's all good. I think we're mostly here, so I'm just going to I really am very, very anxious to hear from all of you what your experience is. I don't know, you have a variety of experiences with the Greek work and with Oedipus as a play. Some of you have been in productions, so you'll have other insights. But of course, I'm astonished at how relevant this play is, not just because of the plague or the pandemic, but on so many levels. And I'd love to talk about that politically and just the human condition and what we do or don't know, how susceptible we are to fake news, and there's so many places that this play resonates in. The other thing that I find so interesting about this play is that it truly is a brilliantly constructed masterpiece. And what is so astonishing about it is that every single person in the audience back in the day when it was written, and certainly today, everybody knows what happened. There's no suspense in this thing. It's not like we're waiting to find out, did he do it? But we are watching he and Yocasta, the reveal to them. And that is edge of your seat stuff. And it's fascinating because you think it wouldn't be. It's a little bit, my husband says, a little bit like the old Columbo, where the old TV show, if any of you ever saw that, where in the first 5 minutes who the bad guy is, and then the rest of the episode is him tracking that person down or cornering that person. It's a little bit that sort of theory, that we, the audience, having the information gives us this sort of profound anticipation, but also there is a kind of part of you that wants it to not happen. Like, even though we know that's going to happen, maybe this time, maybe this telling of the story will end differently, right? Anyway, so those are things that that I come to this work with, but I'd love to hear from you guys, from anyone, what your reactions are.
Yeah, I mean, that's also a challenge as an actor, right? Like, I know from the beginning that I did all these things, and then I have to like put out of my head that, you know what I mean? And it's really hard. It's really hard to do that, actually. I don't know why, particularly with this play, maybe because it is so well known that like, yeah, you really do have to try to like put that out of your head as you're working on it. That would be a big challenge if you want to work on this like in a full production.
But it isn't any different than any play, in that as actors, as theater makers, we know how it's going to turn out because we've rehearsed it.
But that's present for audience. I agree with you in that way for a lot of the Greek. I mean, this is the first time that I've gotten to read for any ancient Greek piece, but it's been on my wish list for a very long time because basically I grew up with musical theater, and the thing that got me to go full steam ahead with acting was ushering for a production of Medea and watching it night after night. And every night I'd prep myself. I'm like, I saw those two little boys running down the aisles with their tutor before the show starts. I know it's gonna happen. I know when that sound cue's coming. And every night I would be shook, just destroyed watching it every time and realizing how relevant it did feel. And I don't know how to describe this wonder at being able to connect with stories from that far in the past, from that far away from my personal life experience, and to still have that strong connection with these stories that unfold, even if they are about gods, even if they are about kings and stories that we don't think that are part of our lives.
But it shows you how little has changed, though. I mean, universally, we get it all. We understand it all. Sure, there's a talk of gods whose names are not as perhaps on our fingertips, but we have things in our culture or our society or our world or our life that fill the same function, right? Mm-hmm. So it just reinforces this idea that humans have been the same.
Yeah, humanity is still
the same. Nothing's changing. Mohadisa, you wanted to say something about the translation?
Oh, no, I just thought the translation, I've read a number of Greek translations. This one was so accessible, so clear, like it fit in the actor's mouth really well, like such an actable translation for sure.
Yeah, that's why I chose this one, because, and it's condensed a little bit. It just gets it, powers through the story. But you're right, like some of the more academic, lofty and staid translations are almost unactable because it doesn't come out.
Yeah, no, they're too fixated on the strophes and the antistrophes and the meter and everything. But no, this was great.
Yeah, Timberlake just wipes all that aside and says, I mean, she does have the Greek, which I've done a production with this translation. So I had someone working with us, a Greek scholar working with us and I thought, okay, so what is that Greek stuff on the right side? You know, is that some wonderful sounds happening for the chorus? But it's actually the Greek of what they're saying. So you know, we could do something with that in a production, but it sort of duplicates what's already being said. So that's fascinating. But yeah, so that's great.
I think the pacing of this play is beautifully laid out. I think if it was any different, it would lose the importance and the impact that it had on being an audience member and getting to listen to the whole thing. There wasn't a moment where I was pulled out of it. I was in it the whole time, and it's beautiful. Yeah. I've never read this one before, so it was a new one for me, and I loved it.
Well, and I think what you're talking about is what I mean about the structure being so perfect. Like just when you need it, there's another character, and each new character that comes is powerful, is important, is bringing a new layer of sort of shock value to the story. So we keep building on it, right? Oh my God, there's another. Oh, we think we have him. We have the messenger who says, yeah, I handed him over, but oh yeah, but there was somebody else involved. There was this herdsman involved, right? And it just keeps laying on, building that tension, which is structurally so fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other responses from being inside it? Love to hear from the chorus. What it's like to be in the chorus. Nobody dares. It's interesting that in the Zoom, I don't like, this is an example of where it becomes more difficult because you're in the scene for us watching, we can see you on the screen, but it's difficult for you in the Zoom to be as to know when you're being spoken directly to and that kind of thing, I think is challenging. But it sure is important that you're all there.
Yeah, there were scenes where it was down to just Oedipus and Jocasta, where I questioned what the physical landscape of our presence was for those ones.
Yeah, I think
if, as you said, we were still there, but how
pull back. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, yeah. That's something to figure out in rehearsal, right? What were you going to say, Stefan?
Oh, no, nothing. I was just gonna comment on something. I mean, I wasn't part of the chorus, so like,
I know, but
yeah.
Rules.
I love what you said. It hadn't really occurred to me about the whole thing about fake news and how like a part of this story that is. I was like, yeah, that's so true. It's like, half the time I'm either like screaming at a messenger that he's like telling lies and like spinning fables, or I'm like, like losing my brain that it, might be the case.
Well, it's like we want the truth, right? But we also want to hear what we want to hear.
Yeah.
So you interpret the truth and make it work for you.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's sort of the whole fake news thing, right? So he and poor Oedipus tries to hang on to some sort of truth that makes sense to him as long as he possibly can, while at the same time having this desire to really know the truth. So it's those two things.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
oh, sorry. No, I'm going back to like the chorus thing. So if I'm going off in like a different direction. Sorry. I was just gonna say, yeah, it was so interesting because, like in a way, I didn't feel part of the story because in a good way, because I just felt like an audience member that was allowed to comment during the play, and it was so interesting because just like the audience, I sort of felt helpless to everything going on. I was just like, oh God, this is my thoughts, but.
Yeah. Well, I think it's valid. I think that's absolutely valid that you are a spectator, however we want to define that, who is observing and commenting on the action, and you represent all of the people of Thebes. And I would argue that the audience is all of the people of Thebes. So there's validity there for sure.
I would think of like the chorus in a way, like it really helps to bring the audience way more into the story and sort of feel like they're just the chorus as well. It's sort of, it bridges the gap between the story that's happening on stage and what's happening to the chorus and the audience.
And of course, I just gave chorus numbers because on Zoom, it's really difficult to do any kind of choral speaking at the same time. It just doesn't work. But if we were rehearsing this, it would be interesting to find out where the points are, where everyone in the chorus is on the same page. And for a phrase or two or a paragraph are literally saying the same words together, and the power of that. And of course, being there physically, there is interaction with the chorus that's nonverbal. That would also enhance that experience. Yeah, Alexis.
I was going to say sort of the same thing, is that we don't have the opportunity in this sort of platform for those wonderful moments of togetherness and speaking as one voice. And I have done a production of this a bajillion years ago, and that's such a wonderful thing about the chorus, is to find those moments when you are speaking, when you are sort of one body, vocally, physically moving together, and then the moments when you break out and each chorus member has their own personality, their own thoughts about what's happening, their own viewpoints, their own opinions, right? And those moments when those are allowed to come forward, it's an amazing convention, the chorus, and what they're able to achieve. I think it's so beautiful, so exciting.
And what I found really interesting was it was easy to find passages for each one of the 4 chorus members that we had today, where there was dialogue back and forth. Because there were moments where it was not switching from one chorus member to another. It was not a group thing, but one person stepping forward and saying, "I've got this little issue. Hey, Oedipus, I want to like work this one thing out with you," and the kind of satisfaction of seeing that go back and forth a few times. And everybody had that at least once, which helped sort of bring some personality. You're right, personality too. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I also wanted to hear from Santiago about Tiresias, because what I find so interesting about Tiresias, of course, he comes out and says everything in the first scene. He just lays it all out. And, you know, he's the Fauci of this play, right? He's saying it, but nobody's listening.
Yeah.
and so that really hit. Came back to this place. We have that happening right now. Really smart people who can see, who have the science, who know, right? He's the scientist. And to see the idiots, and the difference between Tiresias and Fauci is that Tiresias gets pissed off about it, and Fauci never does. Right? But I don't know. How did you feel with
Well, actually, yeah, working with the text prior to the reading, I was just like pointing out the things that I was like, oh, he's literally giving out the information. Like he's just saying what happened. Like he's telling him who he is.
Yes.
And it was so clear to me while I was like going through the text that I was like, okay, he's actually pointing it out. And if he would have listened from the very beginning, you know, like the story wouldn't have happen in that way. But it was really interesting to find like what is it that Tiresias wanted to do in this exchange, like how where was he coming from and where he wanted to go, and especially just being in that position where he holds this knowledge and nobody wants to take it. It's like, oh, never mind.
Not only does no one want to take it, I mean, it's a little bit of Cassandra, you know, it's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But also because Tiresias knows that the knowledge comes with a real price, right?
Yeah.
So it's in a way, that's why I think of Fauci too. Like, I want to tell you the truth, but the truth actually has death in it. So, you know, so that's why he's a little oblique sometimes, perhaps, in how he parcels it out. But it's like, oh God, if you guys could just see. Yes, it's bad news that I'm giving you, but yeah.
Yeah, the language was really interesting as well, like how he was actually trying to give hints without like, you know, giving it right away. Yeah, it was really excellent.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, anybody else was, there were a couple of people who felt like you wanted to say something. Want to jump in? Yeah, Shilin.
I was going to say it was fascinating to watch in that first real standoff with Tiresias and Oedipus, the the shape of Oedipus's character that is his real downfall in terms of this anger, this quick temper. Yep. That you're looking at these prophecies that are saying the murders he will do, the things he will do, but you see so much of that comes out of his quick temper. So much of it comes out of his snap temper over hearing about potential parenthood, over how he interacts with someone who pisses him off on the road.
Well, and his assumptions about Creon. And it's too bad we've lost Alessandro. He had to run because I wanted to ask him some pointed questions about that role. I mean, in playing that part, if you're, because this is part of the trilogy, the Thebans, right? Sophocles trilogy. So Creon comes back in a big way in Antigone. And just sort of this place sets him up for where that ends up going. And Antigone, of course, being one of the daughters. But that jumping to conclusions of Oedipus going, that must be it. That's what makes sense to me, right? That thing of, it's got to be that. It's got to be that Creon wants my throne, and that's why. Okay, got it. I get it. Don't tell me otherwise. I've decided this is what it is, right? And so he's not a good guy.
Would it be fair to say Oedipus has blinders on?
Yes. All right. But he's quick to anger. He's quick to jumping to conclusions, to having to be right. So I don't know, again, in rehearsing a role like this, Stefan, I think we would find a lot of interesting material at the beginning before it plunges into grief.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you wonder like where, like, I mean, it's obviously part of his personality, but if like it's perhaps like this desire to jump to the conclusion, to have the answer, to like find a path forward, if that's part of his personality, but is also exacerbated by like the pressures of being like a ruler, and you know what I mean? Like always needing to be the person with the answer and feeling like maybe I don't always know the path forward, but if I'm strong about it, if I sort of like come to some conclusion and I just point forward, then everybody goes like, okay, well, that's what the ruler says, so that's what I'm going to do.
But of course it's hubris, right? That's really what this boils down to. And the reason that he's in this situation he's in now is because he always thought he could outsmart the gods, right? That way back when he first heard the prophecy, he said, I can outsmart the gods, I'm just going to leave. I will run, I will escape my fate that the oracle has given me, which of course is hubris. So, and one of the chorus members actually addresses that. I forget who it was, which one of you it was. Was it you, Shailene? Yeah, just actually calling it what it is. That's what you get if you get too big for your britches, and if you think you're better than the gods. Yeah, like we can think of a few people like that right now, perhaps politically.
Who?
Yeah,
who?
I can't. Who? Yeah. Anybody else want to? How about our priest, Aaliyah? Anything you want to add?
It was really interesting because I feel like the play kind of jumps in right to the middle of something, and we understand what's happening, but there's also a lot of the story that hasn't been told or addressed. So it was interesting to kind of, Oedipus says a little bit, asks what's going on, and then to have the priest jump into that monologue and finding, okay, what has led to the point of wanting Oedipus's help? What are the events that have been happening, and what are we looking for as being the spokesperson? What are the people looking for?
Right.
It was really, at first when I saw the monologue at the beginning, it was like, yeah, that's how does one approach that without a lot of context? But
yeah, exactly. But it is theatrically interesting, very interesting always to jump into the middle of something.
Yeah.
We as an audience don't necessarily want all the backstory spelled out at the beginning. It's really satisfying to have an experience where you're figuring it out as you go along, right?
Yeah.
And in any production of this play, there will be some sort of visual representation of this plague, whether the whole chorus is wrapped in bandages and is bloody or whatever you decide to do with the opening of this play. But there's some visual understanding of the oppression and the fear and the sickness and all of that stuff, right? But then the form, another reason why I was really interested in doing this play now, again, is because it suddenly struck me that the Greek form is really fabulous during this pandemic where we can't do theater in sort of the ways that we're used to, because this is based on the structure, the physicality of the world of this play has got physical distancing embedded in it, and it's lots of like somebody delivers a great big honking piece of text, right? And they could be staged in the middle of a stage and keep everybody. And I also I mentioned this to Michaela, actually, I imagined the chorus with masks, right? And then perhaps take them off when you speak, and then back on goes the mask, right? Just the chorus is completely in masks. So it could be, and so yes, I have plans to stage this, but yes.
I wish we'd tried that for this.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to dictate too much in the way of like costuming and stuff, because this is just a lukewarm, not quite cold reading, right? So I don't want to go too far, but anyway, but you see what I mean? It seems like a gift in this current time when it's difficult.
You could go the full hog and do the full Grecian masks that they wore, and that's
and protect everybody in some sort of bubble.
Protect everybody. Exactly.
Could do that. Yeah.
I wanted so badly to like do like a blindfold at the end or something, and I thought about it, like what I could use for about like 2 minutes in my apartment, and then I realized, oh, I need to read my script though.
Yeah. You did great. I mean, you chose to not look at the camera. I mean, it was quite powerful. We had your eyes profoundly all the way through, and then when you didn't have eyes anymore, we didn't have them either, and that worked.
Right.
There's lots of tricks and lots of ways. Just a piece of gauze or something that you can just see right through, but it gives the idea, whatever. But no, I thought it was great. All right.
I have to run to another rehearsal, but I had so much fun.
Thank you so much. Thank you for reading with us.
It's such fun.
Okay. Bye-bye. We're
great
good.
rehearsal.
Here anyway, unless somebody else has something you want to.
I wanted to say, I won't keep everybody. First, just about reading this play that is so, as you said, thousands of years old, and given the state of our industry currently, it really, I think, gives me a lot of hope. Like theater does not die from from the plague and from these pandemics, and it, as we've seen today, like this, and I know they're doing a big Greek broadcast, but
yes, at the same time.
So yeah. Theater prevails over all. So it's very hopeful to be doing a 2,000-year-old piece, because it will rise again. I believe. And I just wanted to say one thing about Yocasta, because I find, and it's a question, and I would, if there was an alternate ending, because she seems to truly love him and says, there is nothing I won't do for you. And I think the truth, certainly the way I interpreted this text, becomes clear to her first, before it becomes clear to him. And that she really tries to dissuade him from pursuing it. And, let's just stop asking questions. Let's just forget about it. Let's just go inside and go. And I wonder whether she would be able to go on knowing what she knows. If she had been successful in getting him back inside and stop asking questions and let's go on with our lives, knowing the truth, what would that do to her? Like, I'm curious, right? Because
I was wondering the same thing while I watched it. Yeah,
it's a spectacular question, but there's no doubt in my mind that she couldn't go on.
She couldn't. I don't think she could. It would just.
That's what you do in the moment. You push it away. You go, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. But you can never unhear it. You can never unknow it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think in that moment she feels like, okay, we'll stop, we'll just go on, we'll carry on, our lives will go on as before, but never.
But I think she's also saying, don't say it. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's not so until you say it, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing more horrifying. And I really think that Oedipus text deals with that, actually having to say, like something that Stefan and I that really jumps out for me is saying to your daughters, shake your brother, my brotherly hand. Like that word, it's so brilliant. It's like saying it, really saying it, right? You know, stuff like that. So yeah.
Very uncomfortable to say that.
Yeah. Imagine. And if you're doing the trilogy, of course, you have the daughters because they're going to be in Antigone. So you'll have actors who can play those, come on in that role. But anyway, marvelous. I'm very proud of you guys. This was great. It was really, really terrific today. All across Canada.
Loads of fun. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, this was a blast. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Until next time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You.